Costco's multi-billion-dollar business model was built largely on selling food in bulk, but the retail giant is aggressively building its pharmaceutical business too. While the retailer has rock-bottom dispensing fees, what consumers probably don't know is Costco has been active in an industry-wide practice that critics say can significantly drive up the price of generic drugs. Tony Gagliese, a generic drug salesman turned whistleblower, is now leading a one-man battle against Costco to expose that hidden practice.
I'm talking to you because I think everyone needs to know what's going on.
He secretly taped a phone conversation with Costco. This is what being strong-armed sounds like.
This is what I would like to see, and this is a minimum to ensure that, well, not ensure, but a minimum to greatly reduce the likelihood of somebody eating your business. Here's sort of what I'm going to kind of tell you. If you want to compete, it is going to have to be sort of, 60 plus.
He's basically saying, I want a minimum of 60% rebate on all your sales.
And what's wrong with that?
It's against the law in Ontario.
Right.
In 2013, Ontario outright banned these so-called rebates that pharmacy chains routinely demand from drug suppliers. The ban was aimed at reducing drug prices.
Well, you can call it a rebate. I prefer to call it a kickback.
Amir Adoran says industry rebates are the drug industry's dirty little secret.
Canadians are really seriously gouged on the price of generic drugs. Billions of dollars a year wasted that doesn't need to be.
Costco says the payments they wanted from Gagliese were for advertising and clinic fees, which they thought were above board. The retailer has since stopped requiring the payments in Ontario. But Gagliese filed a complaint with the Ontario College of Pharmacists. Two Costco executives pleaded guilty before the college for professional misconduct. They were each fined $20,000, though Gagliese says his employer had paid Costco $1.2 million in rebates and fees.
As my son said, so I pay a $20,000 fine for stealing $1.2 million. Where do I sign up?
So Gagliese took his tapes to Ontario's Ministry of Health, pushing for stiffer penalties for Costco. The Fifth Estate has learned the province has called in its forensic investigation team, which specializes in cases involving wrongdoing against government, to investigate his claims.
I went to a meeting with the forensic investigating team, and they were the ones putting together the case for the Minister of Health. And what I was told, and I quote, "Help us, Tony, to put together this case against Costco."
The Fifth Estate requested interviews with Costco CEO Craig Jelinek and their top Canadian executive Andre Briand to discuss the payments and the government investigation. They declined. But in a statement, Costco insists it genuinely believed the $1.2 million in payments it demanded were legal. We have not used these funds to line our pockets while we continue to charge high fees. To the contrary, payments received are used to defray our operating costs to allow us to pass the savings on to our customers. While Ontario has banned these rebates, everywhere else in Canada, pharmacies are free to demand payments from drug companies as the price of doing business with them.
I think that this is a business where the various players have carved a piece of the pie for themselves, and none of them want to really upset the system because that pie sure is tasty. This is a business in which different stakeholders have big financial reasons not to upset the way things are done.
So imagine the savings to Canadians if generic drug companies slash their prices by up to 60% instead of paying pharmacies for the privilege of stocking their product.
So if you removed rebates across the country, you would save the healthcare system a lot of money. Again, keep in mind, the generic industry is worth about $5.5 billion. If we use Costco's own words of 60%, that means we could remove $3.3 billion of cost per year of rebates that are going to pharmacies.
Taking on your customers is not good for business. Gagliese has since lost his job, but he doesn't regret being a whistleblower and shining a light on the darker side of Canada's drug industry. Mark Kelly, CBC News, Toronto.